Hello everybody, and you're welcome to another beautiful episode of the Coffee and Beans podcast, or Coffee and Beans with Adesola Balogun. I'm your host with the most, Adesola Balogun, and I have a very interesting guest today. I was at a exhibition a few days ago. Well, when you listen to it, it'll probably be a few months ago, but the Fashion Souk, and of course it's a beautiful platform where you meet people who are Nigerian entrepreneurs, Nigerian creatives doing the very, very most. And this gentleman and I got talking, and I realized that, I've heard of his brand way before, I've even had any interactions with his brand, and I must say I was really, really impressed, especially for a solely Nigerian business, how much dedication, how much process, how much they put into their work and their product. And I told him I had to get him on the podcast. So I'd like to welcome Ahmad Akinsemoyin, the co-founder of Zorkle, to the podcast. You're welcome, bro.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, the first question I asked, when we first met was, how are you able to get, I'm sure if you live in Lagos or the Lagos metropolis or around, even let's say Nigeria, you would have heard of Zorkle, the brand. How are you able to, the word is proliferate the brand Zorkle into people's consciousness? How did, I know you've told me about it, but how were you able to do it? Okay, let me not get too forward. First of all, how did the idea for Zorkle come about?
So basically, the journey Zorkle as a brand started 6 years ago, 2016.
Okay.
But the reality is that the story of how we got there, didn't start, of course, definitely. 2016, you get. So while I was a student in Unilag, I studied economics education in University of Lagos. Yeah. So I'm actually supposed to be a teacher anyway. I think that's probably the only thing I really, really love. That there's this thing I just love, impacting knowledge. Impacting knowledge,
yeah.
And I think it comes from it comes from the part where, growing up, I didn't really have somebody that could
show you the ropes, see you as a role model.
I had to practically learn everything via mistakes and everything. So it kind of like makes me want to transfer whatever I have to, especially young people that are coming up. So as an undergrad in Unilag, first I didn't even know I was there. That's the reality. So my partner and I were very, very different. We come from very different backgrounds, and I came from a background where I didn't really have anybody I could say, this is the person I want to be like. I was the firstborn of the family. So my dad wasn't around, so everything I was doing, I was just learning as I was moving.
As you were going,
So when I was going to Unilag, I practically went to Unilag because everybody that around me, my friends, were already going to Unilag.
So
that was the next thing. That
was naturally the next thing to do.
Let me don't be left. I don't want to be left behind. And one of the things I found out, in looking at those things in retrospect now, I always look at it and be like, there's a way parents address that, their children or people that are established,
right? Or
these motivational speakers address people and be like, you have to know what you are doing and everything. But the reality is that the way we are, a lot of us might not really figure out what we want to do with our lives at a very, very early age.
Very true.
And I think what is important is to keep moving. Even if you've not figured out what you want to do,
just keep moving.
Don't stay in one spot. Don't be retrogressing. You might not figure out why you do, but learn something. Just add something, because you can never tell when those things will come
in handy.
And there is nothing you learn that is useless. No knowledge is useless. You might not need it now. It could be in 20 years time, could be in 50 years time. believe me, it will always come in handy. So as a student, I just wanted to be in Unilag. I wasn't really interested in going to class and all of those things, you get. But which I did it, you get. So, time for classes, we don't go for class. Just this, just chill, you get. And I think another thing that caused it is this way our educational system is
structured.
You go to class and then you have about maybe 100 seats, and the 100 seats supposed to cater for like maybe 300 people. They're
like 200 and something in your class.
So you're literally getting the class standing. So that motivation, if you don't have that thing that is driving you to want to be there in the first place, it's very, very difficult to just wake up in the morning and want to go to class.
You want to go,
you get.
Yeah.
And then I was in the faculty where there's this way everybody in school addresses you, like you guys are like the lowest part of the school. I think it happens with every education faculty in every school.
Every year.
And it's very, very, very sad that, people are treated, even lecturers treated us that way. We'll go for courses in another faculty and they treat us as if we're not supposed to be here. And I'm like, it was really, really annoying. You get, it was really annoying. So for a lot of people in education then, in my class, it was probably one of the things that was spurring them on. Like, we could do something, you get. Right. Don't look at us this way. It is supposed to be a double honors, and you treat them like they're shit, you get. So, along the line, I think when you hostel one day, and my colleague was just, my partner now, his name is Badibo Alafia. So
shout out to Badibo.
Yeah, awesome guy. We've been business partners now since 2006.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. So he just said, why don't you do something instead of sitting there in the hostel doing nothing? You just always in the hostel, maybe playing card or something, just gisting, whiling away time and all that. Why don't you do something? I'm like, okay, what do you have in mind? Well, about 5 in the room that day. What do you have in mind? So I was just thinking, like, maybe we should like organize a trade fair or something. They just mentioned it in passing, and everybody in the room was like, have you done something
like that before?
He said no. Do you know anybody that has done something before? He said no. Oh guy, you can't do it, Joe. That kind of attitude. And I was at a stage where I needed to get involved with something. I'm kind of person that I can't stay idle. When I stay idle, before you know, you are doing things you're not supposed to be doing. You get. So I needed to get involved with something. So when he mentioned it, I didn't even know how we were going to do it, but I was like, let's just do this. You get. Even if we're just going to run around, let's just do this. And later on, just called him and said, I'm like, Alpha, let's do this thing now.
Had something like that been happening in your school, or where did you get the idea from?
Like I said, he was the one that came up with the idea.
Oh yes, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, was it supposed to be modeled after something that was already existing?
There was nothing like that in Unilag then. And then you have to also realize that back then, 2006, there was still the student union. Yeah. And the student union has a very, very strong hold on the kind of activities that happen in school.
Very true.
They bring artists to now students, social director,
the director of social,
then go bring them. So you couldn't just do something without
the involvement of the SUG.
They were the one that were doing everything, basically.
That's true.
So that period, I think it was one of the period that actually transformed Unilag. A lot of people might not realize that. But that period, we're coming from a situation where the school was closed for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And that was when the student union had this riot, and they burnt the house of the deputy vice chancellor. It was a crazy scenario. Obasanjo, president then,
yes, I remember.
It was very, very serious. We were home for like 8 months. So coming back to school, there was no student union. So it was like open season.
Wow. Yeah.
It was open season. I think that was when a lot of people started coming up with different ideas in Unilag. Before you know, one cold gospel concert.
So literally, the student union government was stifling those kind of activities from
really.
On.
I think it's the same thing with almost every school that has a student union.
Yeah.
I think everything changed maybe like 5 years ago, when most of those schools they started disbanding the student union.
Right.
So everything has to go through the school. So if you have an idea, just go into your DSA. Just go your dean. You get approval and get it done.
Yeah.
So there was no roadblock. There was nothing to stop you from doing this. So before you knew, back then, around that time, there were different ideas popping up in school. This person was doing that person was doing this. So when it came up, I was like, okay, let's do this. We're like, what do we do? I said, you know what then? I have an uncle. I know he's an entrepreneur. He has somebody that has a very, very creative mind. let's go and speak with him. Let's just have a conversation with him and see how it goes from there. So okay, no problem. So I went to see him, talked to him about the idea, and it was like, it's a fantastic idea, and that the best thing he could tell us to do is to go and do it ourselves. And even though we might not know what to do, it's better for us to just, wing it and, learn the ropes along the line. So in the process of all of that, we're already looking at, okay, what would the best direction be?
Yeah.
Do we partner with somebody else? Do we do this? So there was this company then that was doing the one organizing the international trade fair in conjunction with Lagos Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we walked up to their office, man. I'm like, see, we have this idea. You guys should come do this thing. Let's share the money.
I was having to ask, like, what gave you the impetus to organize something in that magnitude? At, like, what was it more of a, if I fail, at least let's know that we failed at something and did do something big, or like, what gave you the courage to tell yourself that you knew that this was going to work, or did you know that you were at the edge of something great and you wanted to follow through with that?
Really, I think it was just the desire to just do something, and the idea that came, what we saw that we could compare with it was already on a big market.
Yeah, true.
So which was international trade fair.
Trade fair, yeah.
So there was no other way to look at it other than to look at it from that direction.
Yeah.
So I even told my uncle then that we've been to Zorkle. It was like, you know what if you grow with them this year, they run the partnership with you guys, they bring all these brands on board, and then the next year they tell you guys are not doing it anymore. What are you going to do? They're going to do it themselves. They have the connect, they have the money, they have everything.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to a deal with nothing, basically. If they honor it the first time, it's just because they can go behind your back and just do what they have to do.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, let's just give this a try. It was just two of us. Like, okay, we need some certain things. What do we need? We need funds. We need other guys that might come up with ideas. So we started coming up with a team. And we spoke to a couple of people in class, brought them on board. It was a nice team, really good guys. We had people in first class. We just came up with different guys.
Another question, please. Prior to that time, had you organized anything? Had you organized anything before? This was your first stint at organizing?
That was the first thing.
Wow.
I've never organized anything before.
Wow.
I've never organized anything before. Even he never organized it. But he always had this. He came from a background where during the holidays he would go to, maybe he would be in a barbing salon or holiday. So he always had this. Sometimes you do, like I said the other time, there's nothing you learn that is useless.
That's useless, true.
So it's come from a background where you might not realize it back then. We talk about these things now and be like, do you know that your mom pushed you toward this direction? Because during the holidays, you tell you, I'm going to learn barbing. You stay in barbing salon all day from morning to evening. You work in a business center. You're doing things that you didn't really understand where those things will get you to. So even then, before we started the trade fair, he was selling airtime. He would just had it on the phone. He would sell airtime in class. He would. There was this. They brought this vending machine then back to Unilag that could dispense drinks and all that. He had worked for them before as the guy standing by the dispensing,
helping.
So he already had that desire to do something. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had not figured out what I wanted to do in my life. That's the truth. I had not figured out. Just like what I just knew in my mind was that I don't want to do 9 to 5.
Okay.
I didn't want to do 9 to 5. I just felt like I want to do something else, but I wasn't really sure of what I wanted to do. So when the opportunity, when it came up with the idea, was let's just do this thing instead of sitting down and doing nothing anyway.
So how was the first? How was the first edition?
I won't call it a failure because it was a learning process. We spent the first 5 months doing the wrong thing.
So you spent the first 5 months preparing for it.
We started.
How many months? How many months did you use to?
We started planning from like May,
and
the event was supposed to hold in December.
Wow.
So because we had these very big, grand ideas about how we were going to do the thing, we brought in a surveyor. He came to measure the entire. We used the sports center in Unilag. So he measured the whole place. Like, okay, how many stands can we get from here? We looked at it like 560 something stands. Started multiplying it by the amount of money we want to sell the stands. So the guys we brought on board, they were like, "Oh man, we don't hammer," that kind of a thing. And when you're in Unilag, then anybody will drive car, come school, big boy. Everybody wanted that kind of a thing. You get that kind of stuff. So maybe that was what made some of them join. I can't really say, but maybe some of them also wanted to do something.
Something
because
worthwhile,
what I'm telling you now, my state of mind, I'm telling you now, is not something that my partner was aware of. Of course. We were in different spaces.
At the time. Yeah.
So, and then we got together. We started, pulling it together. We would walk from Allen to Salvation. Would enter every shop on that road, trying to get them to come get a stand at the trade fair.
So you literally were not looking at Unilag, University of Lagos students or people in the
to sell. No, we were trying to bring. So it was like trying to bring the market into the school.
Okay.
So the whole idea from the one was to get it. Was to get it across to 6 geopolitical zones. That was what we had planned from the one.
Across different schools.
Yes. So we'll do 6 times in a year in 6 schools in 6 geopolitical zones. Unilag was the base.
Right.
So because we had that grand idea, we would go as far as Alaba International to go to marketing. We'll go as far as Lasso, Ojo, Accoid. I didn't know. What's the name of that school? After
Adekunle Ajasin.
No. Accoid is that college of education after Lasso Ojo now. There's one college of education after.
Oh, okay. No, not familiar with that.
I can't remember. It's just quite far. You get, so you can imagine. It was a tough one. You get. We did a whole lot. They pushed us a lot. But one of the things I realized was that I can't say it was a failure, because we didn't even achieve close to 10% of what we wanted to do. But we were able to. It propelled us to understand that this thing can actually work. It can actually work. So, how many editions did you have after that one? After that one, Unilag. I think we had about 9 in Unilag.
Till even after you left.
That's what we did for quite. That's why I told you that the journey for Zorkle didn't start. 2006. That was what we did for a long time, and then from then on, we went to University of Calabar, University of Port Harcourt, Uniben, Unilorin, UI.
Okay. The 9 editions was not in Unilag.
No. That 9 editions was just in Unilag. Overall, we must have done not more than 40 editions.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at that point, did you start getting funding?
So we started getting sponsors. We were able to start getting sponsors after the first edition. So the beautiful thing about the first one was that along the way, we also met a couple of people that were already working in the industry. Okay. And some of them were just intrigued that look at these young boys that are trying to do something with themselves. You get. I remember there was a particular gentleman then, Mr. Dio, was working with Intercellular back then.
Yeah,
he did everything he could for Intercellular to come on board. They actually were the one that gave us the money that we used to pay for the venue.
Which edition was that?
That's the first edition.
Okay, it's okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask that was Unilag charging you for the venue?
So the first edition, Unilag gave us a discount, student discount. We paid. We've never gotten a space for free before.
But as they saw that this thing is bringing people.
So at the end of the day, what happened? Another thing, with our space is, you understand that once something happens and it looks like it's successful, you find out that everybody wants to start jumping into that space.
Yeah.
So after that first one, the next thing somebody else did another one.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about it is we used about 7 months to plan the first one. By November, most of the guys that we had in our team, everybody had pulled out. Like, this thing is not going to work, because you've not even had one person. One person that never paid for stand. Everybody just kept telling you,
don't worry.
Nobody had paid for a stand. I'm telling you, and we had blasted the entire Unilag with posters. Every class there was poster in the classrooms. My guy and I would carry bucket.
How did you get funding?
Funny enough, he used his money for the hostel. So I was sleeping around, sleeping here, sleeping there. Seriously,
wow, talk about dedication.
It was a very crazy journey.
He
slept here, he slept there. He didn't have a place to stay in school because he used his own his money was supposed to use for the hostel. I was able to get a couple of dough in as well. Then some of the other guys I mentioned as well that we worked together. Shout out to Bola Shobanjo.
Yeah.
Shout out to Yemi Deroju. Shout out to Yomi Suino. These are my guys.
Yeah.
We all worked all of this together. They were able to bring in some money as well too. So I tell you that the first person that paid for a stand at that exhibition paid 3 days to the event.
Wow.
we had not paid for the venue.
Did you get up to the 500 and something vendors that you were asking for?
I said we didn't achieve 10%. You asked me 500. We didn't achieve. I think we eventually got about, I think, 23. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but you know, the thing about it is that
it's always a learning curve.
At the end of the day, it was just that, oh, you guys actually pulled this thing off. That was what people now started saying. 3 days to the event, we had there was this printing company then, DigiPrint.
Yeah, DigiPrint, yeah.
They actually sponsored us. They did a banner for us, a massive banner.
You approached them?
Yeah, we approached everybody. We approached everybody. We met with MDs. We met the guy that is coordinating Sony in Nigeria. We had a meeting with him. It was like Sony does not participate in any exhibition that is not to 5 years. And I've told him that okay, no problem, we'll come back in 5 years' time. Did
you go back in 5 years?
Yeah, we did.
Did they give you?
No, they didn't come because it wasn't necessarily their audience.
Wow.
So they didn't come. But it's the first event Adesola sponsor in Nigeria was our event.
Adesola.
The moment they came to Nigeria,
yes.
The first event they ever sponsored in Nigeria was our trade fair.
Wow.
The MD was there. They built a house. They built a house at the event. We had artists. We had Banky W perform. We've had Vector. We had Benga Deyinka.
What was the name of the event?
Student Trade Fair now.
Student Trade Fair, yes. Yes, you told me.
Recently, somebody even sent me. There's somebody that was like a junior to us in school then. He actually sent me a flyer of the first edition we did. He kept it. He had the physical copy. He kept it since then. He sent it to me like 2 years ago. And that's 2021. He had it since 2006.
Wow.
I don't even have the flyer.
So how did Student Trade Fair
metamorphose
into, I mean, because one would think that okay, you were going to go on a path to being an event promoter.
Yeah.
An event promoter, a show promoter. How did that metamorphose into what we know as Zorkle now? Yes.
Okay, so along the line, we also realized that the moment we started doing trade fair and it seemed successful, like it was working. Then you had every Tom, Dick and Harry.
Of course, wanted to
start doing trade fair. And the whole idea for what we wanted to do was that you had this trade fair once in a year. So it was supposed to create this huge buzz around it, where you have people who come from Yabatech, people who come from FCE, people who come from Federal College of Technology. They will all come to Unilag. It was always jam-packed and everything. But the moment, once there is any whole week, every hostel is having a trade fair.
A trade fair.
So you have about,
which was not the case before.
Which wasn't the case before. Wow. Wasn't existing before. So the moment that started happening, by the time you now want to have that grand event, people are already fatigued,
and then especially funds would have been dissipated into.
So we realized that there has to come a time when sometimes if something is not working, you have to metamorphose into something else. So all of those years, we still had other things we were doing because the platform would open up other channels for us.
Right.
We started running marketing campaigns for companies. We had marketing campaigns for GTB.
Wow.
We took GTB to 25 campuses nationwide. The first campaign GTB ever had, we were the one that put it together.
That's GT Create?
Yeah, we created that product for them.
Wow.
We created the product, created the campaign around the product, everything around it. So it took us into a different realm. But in that industry, one of the key things that is important in that industry is to have retainers. When you have retainers, it's just like you have it's like lawyers. When you have people that have already paid you for a whole year, they paid your service for a whole year or 2 years, you get. But it's always difficult to get retainers, you get. So you're always living.
But why was that?
So then if you end up why it was always difficult was because most of those kind of deals at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily come from sitting there in the boardroom.
Yeah,
you get my point.
True.
So they already probably have some guys on.
On
they just bring you on board to just do one project.
Yeah.
So you find out you're living on project to project. You're living on project to project. So along the line, seeing what those exhibitors would do at the event, and one exhibitor will tell me that I saw 3 million in Unilag. I'm like, in Unilag? What the hell? We said we organize the events. We don't get 3 million. So what was where we're really seeing the money in the event was when we get sponsors.
Sponsors, yeah.
You get my point. So the one when we wanted to go outside of Lagos, First Bank sponsored about 5 schools. So we took them to Unilag, UI, Uniben, Unilorin, Unical. So, but along the line, we realized that we needed a product,
right,
that we could do something like what these guys that come to our event were doing. So we're always constantly looking at different products. We had somebody will come to be looking at it. We never even looked at clothing. It was never our direction to go into clothing. We just wanted to do something. You get my point. So down the line,
I'm curious to know how you were able to juggle all of that with schoolwork.
Yeah,
I'm sure school was.
That's why I know if you carry 2 hands.
Okay, well, I mean,
you have to take one. One of them has to suffer for the other. People will be writing exams. Who will be carrying bucket of starch up and down in school, pasting posters everywhere. They were having an exam like we're in LASU running, ads and everything. Yeah. People should come. So we enter some classes and go and paste posters. People were looking at us like, this guy is crazy. But the first one, what happened was the first edition. All the guys we knew like then that were our friends, and what you tell them about what we were doing, they'll be like, oh God, we'll go drink for OJs or something. They were really interested,
yeah,
because they didn't see how you were going to pull it off. They didn't understand where is drive, what are you trying to achieve. But believe me, when we did the first one and it happened and they saw that this thing was happening,
this thing actually is a
everybody
thing.
Came, everybody wanted to wear a tag and be like, I'm part of the organizers. And all of them brought their cars for us to paste posters on their cars. So it was, we had about 20 cars, posted posters on them. So the other thing you're asking me the other day about the sticker thing, it's something that we've always been doing.
Wow.
So all those cabs in Unilag, their dashboard, we'll go and paste our flyers on it. When you enter inside, sit down, you see the flyer. See it. So we'll negotiate with those cab guys. Yeah. We'll paste it on their dashboard, we'll paste it on their chairs. So the entire school will know that something is happening.
Something's buzzing.
So along the line, like I said, there was one of the editions we had in Unilag, and there was this brand then that was owned by Jumia, Kemo, yeah. So they had a stand. So every day they would bring different exhibitors to the event. So there was a day they brought a lady. She sells Converse.
Okay.
All-Star Converse.
All-Stars, yeah.
Yeah. And I looked at it. I'm like, man, this butter makes sense. So you get. And she was selling for $2,000. I'm like, how can All-Stars be $2,000? It doesn't.
I'm sure she was bringing it mass.
It didn't balance in my head. How can this thing be?
How much did you know that they sold it?
So I just figured out that the shoe should probably be maybe like $15,000, $10,000 from all those talk to me,
collectibles and
LOP brand that we knew then. So for $2,000, I'm like, no, it didn't make it. And she was selling like pure water. She was the only brand that brought 3 days back to back. She was selling like 300 pairs a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You like alone?
Yeah. It was crazy. So at the end of the day, I just called her, come give us a number, let's do something together. So we approached her and we said, you know what on the average, where do you sell your products? She was like, she sells on Jumia and came. Everybody was selling on Jumia and came back then. So like, you know what give us some of your products, we'll sell for you. We're not going to sell it on whatever platform you are already. Give us at that $2,000. This is how Zorkle started though. Give us at $2,000 and we'll sell for $3,000. So you know the price. We're not selling exorbitantly. Give us at $2,000, we'll sell at $3,000. The only thing is that we're not going to give you money up front.
Is as we sell, we will remit.
You give it to sell, remit. She was like, hey, she doesn't know us, so blah blah blah. I was like, but you came to our event now. At least you saw what we can do. So it's not like you think that we are scammers or anything. She was like, no. She would think about it, like, you know what, can you come to our office? At least know our office space. When you know our office, you
already had an office then?
Yeah, we already had.
Where?
This was after we were done. We had an office in Fade.
Oh wow.
We had an office in Fade. We started Zorkle from there, but we never put the address on our page because there was this negative intonation that came with Fade.
Yeah.
So that's why we never did that. So she came to our office, but the day she came to the office, as she landed in the office like this, when she opened the door, she entered. The first thing she saw a roll-up banner that put Converse 3,000.
You already
don't do banner now, guy. See the talk.
Wow.
We wanted her to understand that we were very serious about it. So we'd already run banner, put for there. So she was like, I've never agreed to give you guys this thing. You guys have done banner. I was like, you need to understand what we are trying to achieve here is doable. And then from then on, she was like, okay, she agreed. I think she gave us about maybe like 80 pairs of Converse that day. And then we just drove to Lut, drove to Unilag, started driving around. And this was and you know what then? I think for a lot of us that are into this entrepreneurship,
yeah.
We need to understand that sometimes you might not necessarily be on that high horse. The horse might have an injury.
Yeah.
If he come down, but you can't stop. You have to keep moving. And I'm telling you, we'll put Converse in the boot of our car and drive to Unilag, drive to Luth. These were us that we had put together events that had Vector, that had Benga De Inca, Goldie, all these guys. They come there to perform. We don't pay anybody anything. I'm telling you. And you had organized stores for GTB, Access Bank, First Bank, but that thing wasn't coming. We had to do something else.
Something else, yeah.
You get my point? So you can't be like, because you don't do level 10 and then you find yourself down, you can't do so. We had to do something else. So we'll go to those places and somebody that knew us on path was like, now they sell shoe, Baba.
They sell shoe.
Kope.com, man. Kope.com. You gotta get this money, man. So it's not about you were doing this before, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense what you were doing before. The reality is that you're here now, you need to get something done. So we started selling the Converse from school to school. So luckily for us, we're driving past Idiroko, Anthony.
Okay.
There's this LASU campus there.
Yes.
So in their second semester, they were writing their exams, so people graduate. And in final year in our exams, they always wear this color shirt.
Yeah.
It was just a perfect timing. We just came with the Converse. We had about almost 20 colors. So it was just a perfect timing. We just park by their gate. People just come, we're wearing blue on Thursday. Give me blue sneakers. Give me this. So we parked there in less than 2 hours. We sold like 50.
Wow.
You know. And then we'll go to Daystar Church on Sunday mornings. We are already there set up by 7 a.m. Every Daystar, we sell like almost 100 at Daystar. Easy peasy every Sunday. So we're selling close to 500 every month, or if not more.
And still that three grand.
3 grand, yes. And we're remitting money to her every other month.
Every other month, okay.
We're remitting money to her. So every other month, every other day. So if she, on Monday we'll pay her for whatever we sold on Saturday and Sunday. From Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll pay her on Monday. And Wednesday again. We'll send money to her again.
New batch again.
Well, that Monday she's already collecting something else. So she's collecting money. Then Wednesday again, we'll send her money again for what we sold Monday, Tuesday.
Wow.
We'll collect more orders again. By Friday, we'll send money to her again. She'll bring more orders. At the time she stopped selling on Kemo and Jumia,
because you guys were like,
she couldn't meet us. She was selling like maybe 100 a month on Jumia. We were already selling like close to 500 for her.
Wow.
She just stopped selling and just supplied us, and she was doing makeup class and doing some other things. You get, you know, she just went on by her way and started doing those stuff. And then later on, I think there was a change in government, yeah, and the dollar after occupying Nigeria, the dollar skyrocketed, so changed the price of the product in the market. We couldn't sell at 3 grand anymore because the cost of the product. Before then, what happened was that the places we were going to sell, it started getting saturated. So you need to follow that trend. As a business person, you need to understand your market and also be able to take statistics. Yeah, switch. Yeah. So LASU, they were done with their exams. It was dipping. The over time, we sold in Daystar so much so that everybody in Daystar knows us. Somebody has already like 8-9 pairs of Converse. And people will give it as gifts, you know. So it was already saturating. So from selling like almost 100 every Sunday, started selling maybe 70. It was dropping to like 60.
Yeah, a lot of the
like 40. You know, like this thing is already saturated. We need to move to somewhere else. So we said, okay, let's move to Facebook. So we're selling from WhatsApp and Facebook. We didn't even have an Instagram account then. We're selling from WhatsApp and Facebook. So we told this lady, I said, you know what? But we already understand the concept of running ads on Facebook because we used to run ads for our trade fair.
Yeah.
So like, you know what? Let's why don't you, instead of collecting 2,000 naira for this stuff, let's give you 1/8. So the 200 naira on it, we'll take it and add it to ads. They will take 200 naira from our 1,000 naira. Okay. And add to the ads. So that $400 automatically goes into ads.
Ads, yeah.
So because this thing is saturating, so we need to create a new market for it. It's going to cost money, and it's going to be very difficult to take all of that money from that, 1,000 grand. You need to put in something. She was like, no, she this girl no grill. She like, see, you know what thing? We kind of people that we like when we say things, we like to stick by what we say. That integrity did there, But you have to understand something. It's going to be difficult to continue moving on with you
if you're not willing
this
to,
is like this thing is a breaking point.
move ground.
Things have changed. You're not losing. You're not making any stress. Just reduce this thing so this thing can keep going. And we too are also going to be chipping in. It's not like we're not chipping in, we're chipping in. But we need to shed this weight, you get. Because if the weight is on us so much, it's not going to worth it anymore.
Absolutely.
Like, nah, she's not going to do that. We're like, see, we'll be lying. We don't taste blood. So because we've always had this internet, we already decided that she wasn't bringing this thing out from outside Nigeria. We felt that she was getting this thing in Nigeria, but she never wanted to tell us what she was getting. Like, no problem. Like, you know what then?
Were you ever curious as to know where she was getting it initially?
Yeah. From day one, that was always something that we always asked her. She was like, she's bringing from China. She was bringing from China. So initially, she would drive down to her office. She was staying around that Abulegba side. So she would drive down to her office to bring the Converse to her office. But when the order and the supply the demand was getting so high, sometimes we could not even wait for her to drive down from Abulegba. You drive around in GRA or something, transload in the car, instead of waiting for her. So we always felt like every time, so there was now a pattern that anytime she wanted us to meet, she would want us to meet in GRA. So we felt like maybe she was getting this thing around this area, but we weren't really sure where she was getting it from. So the moment she said she wasn't going to, drop down the price, we're like, okay, you know what, this thing can't work anymore.
I mean, time to cut off the middleman.
So she took her stuff, and then we just woke up and like, guy, let's go to Lagos Island. Let's go and look for this thing. This thing has to be in Lagos. So we went to Lagos Island, started walking around. We just saw those boys with the mandalas. You want to buy something? So, guy, come. I will give you 5K. Carry me, go where they bring
this thing in.
And then we started walking in the market. The guy took us everywhere, even to the major suppliers of things that we didn't need.
Why wasn't that an option initially?
Like I said, it was the ability to stick to what
was already working. Yeah, okay.
That's one.
Okay.
Two, we're not spending any money.
She was doing all the legwork.
She was one bringing out so she was covering the capital part. We weren't spending any money on capital, so it made a lot of sense to my own part.
Right.
So you get my point. So now after cutting her off meant that we didn't start putting money into it. We weren't putting any money into it before.
Right,
you get my point.
Yeah.
So we had gotten to that point that the thing was selling a whole lot. Like, this thing has to reduce. This thing is making a lot of sense. I literally got married on Converse. I'm telling you the truth, Baba. I literally got married. We weren't calling it Zorkle then. It wasn't Zorkle. The name hadn't even come up.
I didn't come up.
But we're already in the journey of fashion and all that. So, and we're still doing our trade fair, mind you.
Okay.
So we'll have a stand at the trade fair and be selling our Converse there.
So, question: student trade fairs and your regular trade fairs for international, were there any different?
Difference is the audience.
Okay, was that good in a good way or in a not so good way? Was it less rowdy? Was it rowdier? Was it easier to manage? Because I'd asked that, how come you didn't metamorphose student trade fair into something like fashion souk or a GT food and drink or like a normal?
We actually tried to. Even then, we tried to do something outside of the campus. There was an event we created then. It was called the Shutdown.
Okay.
We used to put it together every December. We had about 2 editions. We had one in Oriental.
Okay.
We had one in GRA. Then this event popped up then. Le Petit Marché.
Le Petit Marché, yes. Remember Le Petit. You organized that?
No. It was a lady.
Okay.
So it was around that time we did the shutdown.
Right.
So what we realized was that the audience is different. So we understood the student market because we came from putting together as students. So we knew what they wanted.
Right.
So now transforming that into the general populace was a different thing entirely.
Okay.
So we realized that events like La Petit Marché, Fashion Souk, it was more of a communal event.
Okay.
So I would think that somebody like the person that put together the La Petit Marché, she has a community that she belongs to.
Okay.
So you can get her once she gets to the exhibitor, she doesn't need a lot. It's just like Fashion Souk. For me, the organizer of Fashion Souk, she has a huge impact in the community.
Yes.
Because one of the things I noticed at that event that we met, was that you had a lot of people from the age of 45 upwards.
Upwards, yes.
Hardly you do go to events and you see 65-year-olds, 70-year-olds going around with shopping bags.
A 75-year-old woman stopped by our stand and I'm like,
So that's what I'm trying to say. You don't do ads. Ads, when you put a billboard up, it's not going to bring those people down there.
True.
You know, I get my point.
It has to be like a familiar terrain.
Exactly. So I think she has
somebody that you.
She had that.
Yeah.
She has that.
That community, like you
rightly she has that
called
community. It. So when we tried to do that shutdown, because we didn't have that community, it didn't work. We had access to people that wanted to sell. You get, but bringing that community was a different thing entirely.
Right.
And it's always when we just noticed that we did the first one, it didn't work. We did the second one, it didn't work. I think we did 3 times. We did one in the rental. We did another one in the Get Arena.
Okay, yeah.
Then we also had we partnered with Adam and Eve in GRA.
Yeah.
Because we realized, okay, Adam and Eve is in that space. You know, Adam and Eve is a luxury spot. You get. Yeah. So we used Adam and Eve. These people still weren't coming. So it was obvious that it was more than just ads. You needed to, be in that community to get these people. So we just we just shut it off.
Shut it down. You shut down the shutdown.
Exactly. He shut down the shutdown.
He shut down the shutdown. Okay, so let's talk about the last 6 years of Zorkle. I mean, you have a very unique brand in terms of, first of all, I must say your customer services is 100%. And I say that because I've dealt with a lot of Nigerian brands, and I see that even with us, even with even with Outspoken, just the minimum that you do, people will say, "Oh, I love your customer service," and I tell them I didn't do anything extraordinary now. So how did we were on the Converse journey? So how did you feel you needed to now diversify in terms of products? And you do a wide range. Zorkle does a wide range of things. Zorkle does Ankara pants, espadrilles, t-shirts. Do you make your own sunglasses?
Wristwatches.
Sunglasses, wristwatches. So you're literally an urban brand. How did that metamorphose into that? And it looks to me like you are still tending towards the young and upwardly, no, not young and upwardly mobile, because that's like the young people. Why has that been your consistent target market? Because along the line, you find that from your student trade fair to the shoes you're selling to what you're doing now, the young people seems to be your target market. Why so?
So I think it's because we've always believed in the ability to put things to numbers.
Okay.
So when we look, because like I said, we always look at things from a very big perspective. We could have sold those Converse for a whole
10 grand,
that,
yeah,
but we wouldn't have sold 500 pairs.
True. My first Converse in 2007, I bought it for 10,000. Yeah.
I had people that would come and buy a Converse. Then I had friends that would buy the Converse.
They're going to resell it.
You get all these Christian Dior carrier bag. You just put that inside, spray perfume, don't face leaky. My uncle don't come. And we sell it for 15 grand.
Wow.
So what I realized then was that a lot of people wanted these things, but they didn't really care if it was a knockoff or was a replica.
Yeah.
Just wanted to look good.
Yeah.
But we found ourselves in that space. It wasn't because we searched for it. We saw the opportunity.
Yeah.
And we tapped into it. And even at then, we always wanted to push it. We always like to do things big. You get my point? So in the process of pushing the Converse, we also realized that it was going to be very difficult to push Converse as a whole, because this is a brand that belongs to somebody else. Yeah. You get my point? So we needed to create something that we used to sell the Converse. So when we left the girl, we found the place to sell the Converse.
Finally.
Story. Guess how much was buying it? Just take a wild guess.
1,000. 800.
$700, man.
Wow.
And she wasn't willing to give up 200.
Wow.
Yeah. She was getting for $700.
Did she ever find out that you found the place?
We jammed there.
Wow.
The day I got the place, we went to Island. I was telling you we were on the island.
Mm-hmm.
We located. So that guy took us to one guy, major guy on the island that brings in stuffs. We met the guy. We had a conversation with the guy. The guy was like, "Oh, this guy, what you guys do? I know somebody that brings this thing in now." So the guy, person is not on the island. If you need this thing, it's not on the island. He just called somebody in Oshodi Arena. Just called the guys. I have some guys there that are coming to meet you. As we just come off for Lagos Island that day, we just faced
Oshodi.
Yeah, we got to Oshodi, and then we met the guy, and the guy was like, "What we want to buy, he doesn't sell. He sells Converse, but he doesn't sell in the way we want to.
Where you want to buy?
He sells it in cartons. It comes in the carton about 30. There are 30 in the carton.
So she was buying it by the carton.
No. So there's somebody else that buys
from him. Who buys from him? Who now sells as pieces. Okay.
So you can then go and buy that person whatever size you
like.
Whatever
size. Okay.
So he now took us to that person that buys that she buys from. So we met the guy. Oh, is okay? No problem. By tomorrow, I'll come with my list because we have a list of sizes we want and the colors. I'm like, okay, I'll come with my list tomorrow to come and get me this stuff from you. And the next day I got there, so I was entering the shop like, "Get off! I don't come." The person that was right in front of her was the lady. And she turned around, she saw me, I'm like, what's up? I greeted her, what's up? How you doing now? Like, I see my list for you. She couldn't buy anything anymore.
Wow.
She left. I felt bad, you get, not because I did something wrong, but I just felt bad, like, you lost all of this opportunity. You get over 200 bucks. You get, you have beaten so much more.
So much more, yeah.
You know, we even found that thing to the point that we're getting for 500 bucks.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how deep we went to the market.
Yeah.
We would go to trade fair, international trade fair. I keep telling anybody that wants to bring anything to Nigeria today, you want to sell anything, first of all, tell you that guy, go into the market.
Make your findings.
Check first. You'll be shocked that he's already there. And the price of bringing it in is definitely
ridiculously cheaper than what you will get.
Go into the market, look at it first before you decide that you want to go and bring anything from outside. You get, because these guys work with the containers and all of that.
Yeah.
So their pricing is going to be very
different. Yeah.
So even from then, the moment we entered the market, I was started getting directly from myself. Started introducing other things into it, Nike stickers, Yeezys, and all of that. We had a website that had suits. All of these things we're selling now, we had it on the website.
Right.
But the problem was it wasn't our brand. It was we're selling different
other people's brands. Yeah.
You know, so we were struggling with it, trying to put it together. How do we go about this? Then the dollar crash happened.
Yeah.
I think it jumped to like 300. So it changed the dynamics of what we're doing.
You were
with
doing.
The Converse. So the moment it changed that, we realized that we need to look internally. If we look internally, we might be able to get things at a lower price and then be able to, produce.
Why was it important to have your own stamp?
On our own name.
Your own name, yes. Why was this? Why was this important? Because I mean, there are other people that gladly sell other people, and they are cool with it. Like there's no.
Yeah. So like I said one thing the other time. When you look at the global space, the people that do other people's stuff and people that do their stuff, who is always bigger?
People that do their stuff. Yeah.
So that's the perspective we always come from. The student trade fair, then we pushed it so much that everybody knew the name in Lag. In all the school we go to, when they see student trade fair, don't come. They knew us by that name. They knew it was always a thing that we always wanted to push whatever we were doing to the highest level. So
and you can't do that if it's other people.
Exactly. So it was always difficult for us to do that with other people's stuff.
Yeah.
You have people that have done very well, even internationally. People like Sports Direct and all of that. They're doing real good. But you can't compare Sports Direct to Zara. They're not on the same magnitude, even though Sports Direct is selling for everybody. They're not even close at all. You get my point. So those are kind of people that we look at and be like, okay, we want to do what this guy is doing,
right,
and then amplify it from where we are. Right. I get my point. Right. So when we started doing all of that, we put the suit, we put everything on the website, and then at the end of the day, that wasn't really working for us. We're always having some issues. Or what you brought didn't look like what I wanted, this and that. You know those regular stories that come with online stuff. So we're like, let's shut all of this thing down. So we brought everything down on the website. So let's go internally. We now started producing locally. Started producing locally. We brought everything down. And then we started producing locally too, because of the trust. That's the difference between building the name and selling something that's already existing. So I don't know Zorkle. Why would I buy your slippers? Okay, I've seen you post online. I want to buy. Why should I give my money up front?
Yeah.
So that was one of the first major challenges we had to clear. The issue of I don't want to give my money. So we actually didn't want to be a walk-in store. We didn't want to have a walk-in store. The idea was to just sell strictly online. Right. When we wanted to sell online, the model we designed from the get-go was to sell online via the website and all of that. But at the same time, people still had that trust issues. So somebody go to the website and order place some order. Oh, pay now. Long thing. I don't know you people carry my money and run. So we okay, we now say, okay, don't worry, let's offer pay or delivery, because we also realized that in the market then, one of the things that Jumia used to break the market was pay on delivery.
Yeah.
And I think there's some certain things that happen there that we don't look at holistically. What they did then, it changed the dynamics of where e-commerce would have been going to. It forced everybody to do pay on delivery.
Pay on delivery, yeah.
You get my point? It worked. It had a whole lot of things that made it work. You get? It's like most people are struggling to push traffic to their websites. I don't know why people prefer to shop on WhatsApp and Instagram than to go to the website. I personally believe that BBM and Facebook halted that transformation.
That dynamic, yeah.
Yes, I think that's what I believe. We were at a stage where we wanted to move to the website in Nigeria, but BBM came, Facebook came, and people were selling from those platforms.
Yeah.
So it didn't allow a lot of people move to that website space, start shopping from there. You get? So we did POD, but it wasn't working. It almost ruined us.
Yes, I was going to say, because what you find is a lot of people would see it and say, nah, this is not what I want, and return it. But you've made it already.
You've made it already now. You're not get there now. Yeah.
So how did you navigate?
That was even one. There's somebody that you've called. You're calling them all this journey. So we have a board. We'll draw everything we want to do.
Yeah, and he has a very elaborate board in his office.
We'll call them and say, okay, so every other day, the order is going to be ready in 5 to 8 days. You place your order on the first day. Second day, we'll call you. Your order is in production. Give you a status update. So
you literally you handhold them in the process,
yes. Yeah. And then the day of delivery, you call them now. Okay, they're coming to deliver. Say no problem. And this person will get there and call forever and don't pick it. So we now started ending up with having products
that were never picked up,
and we didn't have a store to push those products.
Yeah.
So it was a problem. And then some people wanted to come to our store. They wanted to come to your space. They want to know where your office is.
Yeah, I mean, trust issues.
So we forced ourselves to change dynamics from POD to at least
deposit
something, even 5K. Because if you're 5K this one way, you
know if you forget, yeah.
But we also realized that for that to happen, we needed something that would make them feel like they trust us. And when we were selling the Converse, we already had a relationship with someone like Alibaba.
Oh, okay. He used to buy from you guys.
He bought from us, and he also retweeted our post several times on Twitter.
Okay.
So we made stuff for him and sent it down to him, and he gladly accepted it. Wore it. We posted it on our page. That Alibaba. So those things kind of like create this
brand trust.
Yeah. And then we appeared on a couple of TV shows, like a TVC morning program. We'll post it on the page. So when people come to the Instagram page, they can see that something is happening here. You get. And then we started seeing people that would just make a deposit. Started making a deposit. So we started transforming from that POD stage
to.
So we just stuck to, you have to make a deposit. If you're not making a deposit, then we ain't gonna do
it. We're not gonna do it.
And then from there on, so the more we started pushing the name and appearing on different publicity channels, we started growing from deposit to 50%. And from 50% to you have to pay.
You have to pay.
Forget about it. Because we now felt we had gotten to a point where we are sure we're going to deliver
to you.
You can see all our page, see people there, see all the story there. As a matter of fact, even when we started doing made in Nigeria, we still had to bring down our website because we were still having this it's an internet picture. It doesn't look like what I ordered.
Yeah.
We had to start taking pictures with things that made them feel like it was real.
Like what?
So in front of our office, video office now, make person they sell onions, they roll in wheelbarrow. We'll go and slap our product on it.
Oh.
We'll go to that Fadei bridge. We'll take a picture. You see a
yellow taxi passing.
You get, so when you see the picture, this is Lagos. If you are not in Lagos, you don't live in Lagos, you know this is Lagos. We need to create that reality in that product, know. So and then we studied these other brands internationally. Like I said, we always want to do things on the big stage.
Yeah.
We studied these international brands and realized that it wasn't all the time they needed to take pictures in the studio. You will go to all these even the luxury brands and all of that. It's not the time they take pictures with the yachts and the supercars. Sometimes they take pictures in places that you be like, you don't want to take picture from. How can you take picture here? Because they know that the story of what they're saying is that no matter how this place looks like, when we bring our thing here, it elevates it.
It elevates, yeah.
I guess my point. So we were trying to transmit that into our own image. So because we realized that in this journey, you also need to have somebody that you're looking up to.
True.
So we've seen them that, okay, in the entire Africa, if you look at the entire Africa, there is no brand, there's no fashion brand that is known by everybody that is an African brand. You can take off the top of your head, tell me one African brand that everybody knows.
You're very, very right.
It's not existing.
So that's the ultimate goal of Zorkle.
Yeah.
Wow.
The biggest fashion brand in Nigeria, from Africa all over around the world. Okay.
So in your brand offering, are you thinking of extending? Because I was at your office yesterday and I saw bags. So what will your brand offering? You will continue to develop your brand of offering. That is a given. But because I'd asked before about your target market, which is the urban, the young. Will that change anytime soon? Is that always going to be the focus?
The audience.
Yes.
The audience. I don't see the audience changing. The audience is an audience that
will continue.
It doesn't elapse.
True. Will continue. The young.
There's a graduation ceremony.
Yes, the young will always be.
They're always coming in. They're always coming in, and I think in a couple of years to come, maybe like anytime soon, we're developing a strategy whereby we can have products that are quite affordable to people. We see ourselves as an affordable brand currently. Yeah. Looking at our
quality versus
pricing, and then also the age group that actually shop
that you're shopping. Yes.
So, but at the same time, we're also trying to develop a product in such a way that students will be able to afford us.
Right.
Because we want to create a long life partnership with our audience.
Yeah.
So you start using us from a very young age. As you're growing. We are still with you.
Right.
So the thing about us is this. Somebody that is earning, say, 100 grand now, 100K a month, that person probably won't be able to afford a shoe of, say,
20-something K.
Yeah. But the person has an occasion. That's the strata the person will go and fall into. I get my point. So where we stand is that person sees us and be like, oh, I would like to wear this people's stuff. When it's at that stage.
Occasion. Yes, when it's at that
stage. If that person moves beyond that stage to, like, say, a 200, our shoe will be like his regular shoe.
Right.
He's now looking at buying a shoe of like maybe 150, 200K for those occasions. No problem. Keep going up and getting those shoes, but we will always remain in that person's wardrobe because of our price point. We'll always be in his wardrobe. So there was a video of this guy recently that had the birthday party. This UBA guy, I can't remember his name.
Mr. Tony Lumelu.
He wore our pants now.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he wore our pants. Pants just 16.5.
Wow.
I'm just very gifted because we searched, we couldn't see where he bought it from us, but we looked at our data and realized, okay, somebody bought it around this time in Banana Island. We checked and all that. We're able to
I'm sure you use that image
of course now. You have to do what you have to do now.
Yeah.
He posted it. It was really nice. You get. So, but the thing is, what I'm saying is that someone like that can still wear our product, even though he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
You get my point. He can still wear our product. So, irrespective of the strata you are, will still fall in line for you to be able to, accommodate us. So he's not a young person now.
Yeah,
he's not, but in age he's not young.
But in terms of style,
he is. Most people at the end of the day are young when it comes to style.
At heart,
even as we are sitting down here like this, we don't feel like we're our age. It's only our body that
will tell you.
Like, our
body will tell you.
Jump. But in your mind and all of that, you still remain young. You get my point.
Right.
So our product is designed to, our brand is designed to be a long life partner of whoever decides to come across us.
Okay, so there's another thing I wanted to. When we spoke, data is very big for your company. I didn't realize it. You literally know. You just said it now when you said when Mr. Olumelu, you were checking to see who bought it. You later found out that. How important is data for African entrepreneurs? Because I know that is one thing that is absolutely missing. If you talk to an average person, the lady that you bought the Converse for, she probably doesn't know how many pieces, how many units she sells. She just knows that she's selling.
I know she doesn't.
So how important is at what point did you realize that data is important to grow this business, and data is what we need to go where we're going to?
There were a lot of mistakes we made in our first business. And part of those mistakes were inability to take proper accounting and data of what we're doing.
Like just spending money.
Yeah, global, you get. As a young guy now, I make quite a lot of money, you get. But when we decided to go to this direction, we started taking the data at a very, very early stage.
Early stage, yeah.
And I told my guy, I said, see, the thing that is going to make this business different from what we've done before is this data and accounting. So my office now, for example, what we do is this: from the get-go, from the moment we started Zorkle and named the brand Zorkle.
How'd you come about the name Zorkle?
We're trying, because we started like I said, I told you that in the website before, we had all of this, everything, researches, and so when we brought everything down, like, you know what, let's people know us for one thing first. Let's do one thing and be very good at it. So everybody knows us for that thing. It's easier for us to now start giving them other offerings.
Yeah.
So we now stuck to shoes. So initially it was Zorkle shoes.
Yeah.
We removed the shoes.
Does Zorkle mean something?
So
or is it an amalgamation of names?
No, really. So it's funny enough, we're just sitting there in the office trying to come up with a name. Like, what name can we call it? We wanted to come up with a name like easy for people to pronounce and not forget.
Yeah.
So let's okay, Kunga, unique. Junior, unique. But there has to be a ring to it. And spoken, unique, you get. And then we wanted something that had a ring of a shoe in it. So we're trying to diffuse a shoe, and we're looking at the buckle in the shoe. So we're like, buckle, buckle.
Zorkle.
So we came up with Zorkle. Then whatever meaning we want to add to what it means is what we will say it means. I get my point. But the origin of how we were able to come up with the name is what I'm telling you. That okay, we wanted this thing to have a ring of a shoe, a fashion in it. If you look at this, if you look at the shoe, if you look at our logo, most people might not know it. If you look at our logo, it's a black background. The logo is in white. By the end of the E, there's a lace. There's a shoelace there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's orange.
Yeah.
There's a shoelace there. A lot of people don't notice that. So we infused all of that into that brand name.
So your colors are black, white, orange?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So back to what I was saying, data. I mean, when we spoke, you said, you know what size you sold in a particular month. Like, I took lessons. I mean, I'll give an example. Like this fashion show that just happened last. I literally had to tell my staff that we need to know the amount of people who we didn't have the contact of anybody who has bought. We didn't have the number. This is the last one, the last previous ones. Okay. And I read somewhere that you cannot grow what you cannot monitor. You can't what you cannot measure. You can't grow. And it was at that point we told ourselves that, you know what, we're going to take the data of every single person. I mean, it was our first time of doing that, and I mean, we got some indices right, but I see that you got it on lockdown. So, once again, I would also ask, why at that young stage was it very important for you to record that much data, not just on the surface, but intricate details, shoe size? Why was it that important for you at that point?
Because we when I told you how we started, we got into the fashion business. You need to understand that we didn't start with a lot of capital.
Capital, yeah.
So when we now metamorphosed into Zorkle, we still had this mindset that we don't need capital.
Capital, yeah.
We started Zorkle with less than 50 grand.
Wow.
We didn't want to use capital to start
it, yeah.
The business, you get. So it was important that data was going to play a lot of role in how we move it. What are they buying? What do they like? I get my point. So, and then previously, like I said, in our previous business, we didn't take a lot of data. So we also wanted to do something different.
Right.
But do something different from what
learn
from what we made some mistakes before. How do we avoid those pitfalls?
Those pitfalls, yeah.
You get my point. So we can look back now and say, okay, what did we do in 2006? I can tell you off the top of my head a lot of things we did in 2006, but I cannot show it to you, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But now, I can show you. I can tell you, because of what we're taking now, the data we're taking now. I put it out there to anybody that is an entrepreneur. You're planning to do anything from the get-go. Make it one of your number one core objectives to take the data of anything that comes across your business. It is important. It helps you to make. You might not necessarily take all your decisions using the data. You will still make some creative decisions, but the data will help you evade some certain pitfalls. It will help you evade a whole lot. I get my point. You will evade a whole lot. So, for example, now you might have a situation where maybe you'll be having some returns in a certain amount, in a certain product.
Certain product, yeah.
If you don't take statistics of that, how do you know if it is that product or is the material? You need to know what is wrong to be able to fix it.
Fix it, yes.
I get my point. And then you need to, when you take those data as well, it starts to make you. So sometimes we sit in the office and be like, look at the people that are buying from us. When we look at the startup we are taking, we don't take much. But you can derive a whole lot from what do we take?
From
a name,
age.
No, we don't answer for
the age. Okay.
So when you shop from us, we check your page. We just put your range between this age and this age. So we take that age. We take that ourselves. We don't ask the customer for that. So take name, phone number, location. I get my point. The regular contact information, but take that. We take the location because location is also important. So for example, when we move to Surulere, when we open a store in Surulere, we actually preferred. The data was telling us to go to Lekki because we're selling the most in Lekki.
Most in Lekki, yeah.
But we also realized that it was also important for us to stay close to. One of the things that's important to us for that, we like to employ people that stay close to work.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the amount of time you spend in Lagos, it's draining. You see that your staff might actually maybe close work at 5, but by 2 p.m. they shut down already because they're thinking of going
home. How to go home.
You get. So one of the reasons we chose Surulere was one, Surulere is an hub where everybody in Nigeria, in Lagos, knows about.
Yeah.
You get. And 2, it still has that view of a place that is not like a Shomolu or a Moshi. You get. If you mention the major locations in Nigeria, in Lagos today, in terms of maybe how high-end they are, when you talk of maybe Ikoyi, Ileki, Ikeja, VI, there's no how in top 5 you don't mention Surulere. So it fits that bill at the time. And the moment we moved into this Surulere, the sales in Surulere is characterized like almost 1,000%.
Wow.
Because you're taking that statistics, that is how I know.
Yeah.
So if I don't take in that statistics, I won't know.
You would have probably gotten a store somewhere else.
Selling. So you get my point. So we know. So for example, now I'm looking at it. We want to open another store now. Where do we open? Do we go to Abuja or do we go to this? It's because of what we're looking at. Or these people are buying the most from us.
But because you have a very big online presence. Would you say location matters?
Of course it does. It does. It really does. Because even though you're online, you're selling online, you still need to have an idea of where people are shopping.
The bulk of your buyers come from.
I'll give you an example. I watched a documentary about Timberland.
Yes.
Timberland is an expensive brand. It's a luxury brand, luxury work boot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't created for the guys that walked away today.
Yeah.
I get my point.
Yeah.
So they had a store in Manhattan. Manhattan is like
New York
or like Ikoyi. So the guys in New York now, in New York, Queens and all of that, once they don't cash out, actually guys were doing drugs, they're selling drugs. Once they don't make money, they want to look good. They cross to the other side of town to go and shop. So because they want to look good, they want people to look at them as if they have the money to buy expensive things. They were buying Timberland. And the moment they were buying Timberland, they come back to the neighborhood People
to look the part.
Example, now say, oh, this is it. So people started buying Timberlands.
Timberlands to emulate, right?
So before you knew, the people that were in the hood that were musicians, when they had the opportunity to start eating limelight, they were wearing
Timberland boots.
And guess what? Timberland was seeing that trend that they were making a lot of money from this thing, but they did not still want to associate their brand with that audience. They only did that because Fubu was created. Fubu came
to literally steal.
Yeah, that's why it was called For Us By Us.
For Us By Us.
It came because of that. Fubu was created because of what Timberland. So Timberland realized that
these people are going to steal.
They were selling like almost 80% of their sales was coming from that direction. But you're not even selling to. They're not even. That's not your audience.
That's not your audience. Yeah.
So if you don't take that statistics,
how will you know?
They won't know. They just feel that they're selling. Then one day the well will just dry. Be like, what happened?
Right.
What made it dry?
Dry.
Somebody that is selling online now, that is just delivering. You don't realize that most of the people that are buying from you are probably maybe in Lekki or Ikoyi. All of a sudden, there's an economic meltdown. You get my point. There's an economic meltdown, and then we're probably selling a luxury product, and then one of the things people cut out first, so those things are luxury. So if you're not wondering why they're not buying. Where are the audience in the first place? When you know where they are, you have an idea of what to do. During COVID, we realized that. That's when we realized that a lot of people were buying from us that were in the offices they were delivering to, because the moment COVID happened, we were still selling during COVID, but we weren't delivering VI. People were not in their houses. We're not delivering in Ejigbo, delivering in because all those people that were delivering to before in VI, they were not living in VI. They were in their offices. The was telling us we're delivering in VI, but these people were not VI. They were not residents in VI. So COVID made us realize that, and even when COVID now ended, we continue to deliver in all those places we were delivering during COVID, because some of those people now had opportunity in all of those places for people to see what our brand looks like. So
it helped to now introduce you to another set of people in different areas around Lagos.
Exactly. So literally, data is important. I can tell you that we know the number of mail we sell to every month. You need to have an idea of what is going on in your business. You need to be able to look at it and say, okay, why does people buy? Because for example, now every February, Valentine, almost every business sells. Yep. Anybody that starts a business in February would think that's
the way it is.
But the reality is, starting February and December, you think that's the way it's especially logistics business,
bro.
But after that period, what happens next?
How do you?
It's a season that everybody in their head they want to buy something, and what we realize is that in February we have a lot of female that buy from us. They want to gift I'm telling you what we have translated from it. Not to gift their probably husbands and the male people in their lives gifts. Then in March, we see a rise in female buying for themselves.
Why is that?
They want to make themselves happy. I've done something for you this
time. It's time for me.
Something for myself.
Do you see anything with regards to Father's Day, Mother's Day?
Yeah, Father's Day maybe. You get maybe men are not really celebrated.
We're not
really appreciated.
That's
the truth.
Wow.
So that match I told you now, what we'll now do is that we'll just ensure that once we're entering match, we push out a lot of female designs. Since they're going to buy now, so push something for them to buy.
Amazing. I mean, you're just speaking with you. Tells me that you're a businessman that thinks through. Like nothing you do is by coincidence. I mean, I guess it's by experience. You prepare yourself ahead for pitfalls. Like for instance, from student trade fair, you see that the market was getting saturated. You moved into Converse. You see that market was getting saturated. Now is Zorkle, and then there are different expressions of Zorkle. So what is the? I mean, I want to close, by saying what's the next 5 years looking like for Zorkle? Are you branching out into other countries? Are you going into other partnerships? Into other? Would you be looking to partnering with other brands in other countries, other regions? What's the next 5 to 10 years looking like for Zorkle?
So our vision is to be the biggest fashion brand
in Africa,
loved around the world.
Right. Okay.
So in that context, there are a lot of ways to achieve that. There's no one
size fits all. Yeah.
Everybody, you have a model you're using. I have a model. Everybody, there are different models to run a business. So in that direction, we're constantly looking at opportunities. If Apple comes to them and says we should design a case for them, even though we're not a case company, I will design case for them now, leather case. All of those things puts you on the map towards where you want to end, where you want to get to. There's no publicity that is bad publicity. I get my point. So collaborations is something that is very important for any business. You have to do collaborations. You have to look forward to. Everybody is working with influencers nowadays. That's collaboration. So, and again, there's another thing that we've not really, synchronized in Nigeria is brand to brand collaborations.
Yep, absolutely.
We could decide to maybe partner maybe a Cold Stone. It sounds odd, like why would you partner a Cold Stone? We design a t-shirt for them now, sell the merchandise in that store, and we sell it in our store as well. Yeah. It's a partnership you get. It drives you towards becoming that level of an international brand. And some certain things you do that start to make people see you in a different light.
Yeah.
You get my point? And the moment you say you want to be an African brand, you want to be an international brand, there is no how you want to have your mark in those continents.
Yeah.
Collaborating with them in that continent, in those continents, or even other countries in Africa is part of getting you to that goal. Having a store now, we are an online and an offline store, so definitely we're looking at opportunities in having a store in a place like maybe London, the major cities,
gateway cities. Yeah.
But some of these things, it takes a journey, and at the end of the day, it requires a lot of funding for those kind of stuff. So as a business, it's always important to look for. Sometimes the problem might not even just be funding. You might need funds, but there are a lot of other ways to do some certain things sometimes that you might not necessarily need fund.
Yes.
Not because you don't need it, but because you need to think creatively at other ways to achieve those things because of lack, fund. So in the next 5 years, where I see us as a brand is number one brand in Africa. That's our goal.
Yeah.
We want to be the number one
still,
in Africa in the next 5 years. That's our path. It seems like an Herculean task. It's big and we feel it's achievable. And the reason I say that is because I look at the statistics of what is being sold in terms of fashion, clothing in Africa, and I realize that the international brands that are coming from Europe, they're still taking a huge chunk of what we have here.
Yes.
And so if you look at you and I and every other person that is doing fashion in Nigeria, everybody is we're just taking crumbs. I don't think many of us sell to. Lagos has 21 million residents, or 25 million.
25 million.
Let's say of those 25 million, the bracket we're targeting is just 5 million. Just 2% of that is what?
That's 2%.
Yeah.
That's 500,000.
What are you talking about now? Are you selling 500,000 people?
No.
So if you look at it, the market is huge. The opportunity to achieve the things I said now, even not just for our brand, for many other brands, is possible. Let's talk about just Lagos. There's Abuja, there's Accra, there's Lome, there's Abidjan, there's there's Joburg. There's so many places for us to be able to, and those collaborations can help move closer to that direction. So that's where I see us in the next 5 years.
Amazing. Thank you, Ahmed, for spending the last 1 hour with me and breaking down your journey from Student Trade Fair to Zorkle. I am very delighted that you have found the time to literally breaking down into the nitty-gritty, and I do hope our listeners have been inspired and taking notes. I've taken a series of notes because his story is just inspiring, and I feel like and I always say, the greatness of men are in their stories, and I'm so proud to know the Zorkle brand and to be associated with the Zorkle brand, and I'm excited about what the future holds. I made quick one. How do we reach you? How do we find out about Zorkle, your website, social media, and all of that?
Okay, so Zorkle website, zorkleshop.com.
Right. And Zorkle is spelled
Zorkle. Yes. Zorkleshop.com. Then on social media was Zorkle Official across.
One word.
Just Zorkle Official, yes,
one word.
Across
Okay.
all social media platforms. Anybody that wants to reach me personally, my name is Ahmad Akinsemoyin.
Yeah, that's your name on the.
I'm accessible on Instagram. I'm accessible on Facebook. I don't like the idea of making myself private.
Yeah.
I might not put my stuff out there. But if there's an opportunity to do something with me, my phone number is on Facebook. My phone number is on LinkedIn, because I always believe that you never can tell what's going to come in
from that.
You get from those places. So even if you cannot be, if you don't want to make yourself accessible on social media, at least LinkedIn, you have to make yourself accessible. That's a business space you get. So I'm accessible in any of those platforms. Via my page.
I was going to ask. I mean, this I always do that. What parting shot do you have for entrepreneurs who are trying to pivot, entrepreneurs who are trying to metamorphose different products, but are not sure how to do it? You seem to have done it rather seamlessly. One thing I would say is be courageous. Which has rang through in everything I've said is courage and boldness to damn the odds, to damn the consequences, and go ahead and do it. But I want you to say it in your own words for that entrepreneur who, I've started this thing, it's looking like this place is saturated. I need to move. I need to pivot. I don't want to keep doing the same thing. I need to change how I'm doing it, but still remain true to the vision. What advice do you have for that person?
Firstly, I think we have to be dynamic.
Yeah.
We have to be dynamic and open-minded.
Yeah.
Irrespective of the desire to achieve your stated objectives.
Yeah.
You have to be dynamic, because there's no one way to do any of these things. If you list the first 1,000, valuable business in the world, I'm sure they used 1,000 different ways of achieving it.
Yeah.
So one of the things we do, if you come to my office now, look at it and say, all these things you guys are doing is rubbish, and you're able to put it to me and show me that it's rubbish, believe me, we stop doing those things that day and move to the next thing.
Wow.
You have to be dynamic. That is the only way you won't die, because you can't be listening to only yourself. There's some things that is only somebody looking from the outside that will be able to
tell you.
So you have to be able to listen. If you don't put yourself in the position to listen, your staffs won't tell you what's going on. People from outside won't tell you what's going on. You have to be open to that. And I believe that for anybody that also that is looking to maybe move from a business to another business or trying to pivot, it's important to even understand where you are first. Because sometimes we want to move to something else because we think it's not working, but the reality is not because it's not working. We're probably not doing
it the right way. Yes. Yeah.
I'll give you a very, very short example. There's somebody I buy this goat sharing thing as a business. I buy from him all the time. So we were talking one day and I was like, can you buy from me? And I told him that, first of all, I don't like when I call you and then you keep asking me who's speaking. It pisses me off. I'm buying from you. I'm a returning customer. Why should I tell you who I am? Save my name, my address, or whatever, so that you need to make me feel familiar. I'm a returning customer. You get my point. I said, one, that's one. I said, two. I said, man, he's been struggling with the business. I'm like, see, there's some things you need to do on your own. I said, let me give you an example. Do you even know I'm buying from you? Do you think I'm even buying it from you? You don't know your customer. I'm not your customer.
Yes.
I might be the one buying from you, but your customer is my wife.
His wife, yeah.
So that's why you need to take the statistics of who are buying from him. He knows that, these are married people.
Back to going data. Back to getting data.
So if he knows that it's married people that are buying from him, then how do you prepare this thing in such a way that the wives that are going to cook it, or whoever is going to prepare those things in their house, they collect those things and feel good. Yeah, I'll collect you deliver it to me. I don't open it. I don't even know what it is. Just
hand it over to the real owner.
And just tell them, Alpha, I just ask her, are you okay with it? If she tells me no, that's the end.
Problem, yeah.
Do you get my point?
Yeah.
So he might think he's not getting returning customers, but he doesn't understand. He doesn't even know his customer.
His customer in the first place, yeah.
So how can you even want to pivot to something else?
Right.
So at the end of the day,
because you still make the same mistake if you were in another industry.
Exactly. So you need to understand the customer. Be like, this is why this thing is not working. This is why this thing is not working here. What can I do to change? What can I do to change this? So if I'm moving to something else, or why do I even need to move to this other business? So when you understand this, when you understand the dynamics of where you are, you want to move into something else. You start looking at, okay, who are the people there that I want to go and meet? We have a name for our ideal customer in my office. We have a name for the customer. We've created a name for that customer. We give him a face. We give him what it looks like. We give him where does he work. We create that profile for that customer. You get. So when we're creating a product, we'll really wear it. I get my point. You need to understand what you're doing. You get. So if without that dynamics of understanding what you're doing and the ability to be able to accept the change that might come,